Hi, I'm Jilly G. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you my gluten-free lasagna. And it's really fast and easy to put together. And in fact, in my cookbook, I'll be talking about this a lot in my coming videos, just so you know. And I know there's people out there that have different recipes of spaghetti sauce or lasagna sauce or tomato sauce. But when you find one that you really like, you use it for other things. So this recipe is as spaghetti in my cookbook, but it's also the sauce that I use for lasagna. And today I'm doing a double batch. And that's why you see so many cans here. When tomatoes are in season, I will make a large batch of this sauce and I'll can it. I won't put any ground beef in it, and depending on what vegetables I use, I will can it or freeze it. And then it is ready for really fast and easy recipes like this one. But the reason I'm doing a double batch today is I'm going to show you what I do when I make something like this. And I'll be making a double batch and I'll put one in the freezer. It really makes it so easy. You're spending all of the time to make one, you might as well make two. And if you've got the freezer space, it's really handy. And then all you have to do is just take it out of the freezer, throw it in the oven, and you've got dinner. And especially with gluten-free dinners. It's really nice to have one on hand that you've already made yourself and you know it's gluten-free, and you've got a ready-made dinner if you have a really busy week or something like that. Right now I'm going to get my sauce cooking. This sauce, I usually cook it for a good 2 to 4 hours. It really helps develop the flavors, but you don't have to. You could just mix it all together, cook it till it's all hot and cooked through, and then use it then. So in my large stock pot, I have about 2 pounds of ground beef. You don't have to use meat in this recipe. You could make it vegetarian if you wanted to. And a lot of times I'll throw in a bunch of different vegetables, which my husband doesn't always appreciate. But if you're making this sauce when your tomatoes are in season from your garden, I'll throw in some zucchini as well. And mushrooms are really good in this too. So first thing I'm going to do is get my meat cooking. And usually when I make this, I'll cut up an onion or two and I'll cut up fresh garlic. But if for some reason you don't have any, you can just use dried onion and dried garlic powder, which is what I've got here. Not everybody enjoys a fresh onion in their lasagna. So I wanted to show you that you can just make this with things that you have in your pantry. And so this is a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes, 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, and a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. And then I've got about 2 tablespoons of honey, 4 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, 2 teaspoons of basil, of course my onion and garlic that are dried, and then salt and pepper. I've got about a teaspoon of each, but this is really however much salt and pepper you like in your spaghetti sauce, which today is lasagna sauce. Once again, I've turned on the wrong burner. Turn on the right burner. Once your ground beef is mostly done, if you're using a fresh onion and garlic, I would add it in at this point. Add in your salt and pepper, onion and garlic, basil and Italian seasoning, and give that a really good stir. Add in your diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, and tomato paste. Add in your honey and give all of this a really good stir until it's really combined. If you were going to add in mushrooms or zucchini or other kinds of vegetables that you might like in your lasagna, you would add them in when you add in your onion and garlic. Once that comes up to a boil, I turn it down to a simmer, put the lid on, and I'll periodically stir it. Oh, maybe every 15 minutes or so, just until it's reduced down and a little bit thicker than it is now. And I'll probably go at least 2 hours and we'll see what we've got. But as long as if you're happy with this right now, you could serve it as long as the meat is cooked and it's all warmed through. Be careful, it splatters everywhere. My sauce went for about 3 hours. Make a note to yourself, don't wear a white shirt when you're making lasagna or spaghetti sauce. It will splatter all over you. And because I'm making a double batch, I actually have 3 boxes of pasta. And I've mentioned this brand of pasta before, and these are just lasagna noodles. And I usually always get at least 2 boxes just because you really never know how much you'll use in your 9x13. For just a single batch, I can fit it in a 9x13. But as I mentioned, I did a double batch today. I'm not going to make 2 9x13 pans of lasagna. I'm just going to do 1 9x13, and then this is a 9x9, 8x8, 8x8 pan. But this way you can feed a lot of people with one of these, and then I can wrap this one up and put it in the freezer for later. It really freezes so well. And then as I mentioned, all you would have to do is just take it out of the freezer, and I usually let it thaw in the fridge and then just bake it. And these are what's called a no-boil noodle. You can, of course, boil them first if you want to, but you actually don't have to. So what I do first is I get a little bit of sauce. And it's okay if it doesn't cover the entire bottom. But it's just enough for the bottom layer of pasta. Maybe a little bit more in this one. And then I just have some cottage cheese, mozzarella cheese, and some Parmesan cheese. And this is just regular cottage cheese. I know traditionally they use ricotta cheese for pasta dishes like this, but ricotta cheese is more expensive, and sometimes I can't verify if it's gluten-free or not, which is really interesting to me. It's just cheese. But as we know, you never know where gluten is lurking. So just regular cottage cheese. So now that we've got our sauce in, I start laying down my pasta. And if they're a little bit bow-shaped like that, I just face it down. These sizes of pasta fit a 9x13 perfect. And it's okay if they're a little bit crinkly. They'll soften once we put the sauce on. And then just do your best if you're making a smaller one. And it's okay if they overlap a little bit. So now that I've got my first layer of pasta in there, I'm going to go sauce. Get more if you need more. And the nice thing about lasagna is you can put as much sauce as you want and as many layers as you want. Now that our first layer of sauce is on, I'm going to put on a layer of cottage cheese. You get this one spread out first before I dump in the other. And it's okay if it mixes in a little bit with the sauce. It's all going in the same pan anyways. A little bit of Parmesan cheese. And now we just repeat with our noodles. For the small one, I usually go the other direction. Press it down if you need to, and just repeat. And I just try to get it in as even of a layer as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I can usually only get about 2 layers of the cheese mixture. You don't want it so full that it will bubble over when you've got it in the oven. But it will cook down because the noodles are pretty firm right now, but once they start to soften up, it will sink down a little bit more. And for reference, this is 2 24-ounce containers of cottage cheese. For just a single batch of lasagna, you would just use 1 container. That was the last of the cottage cheese. Now we'll go mozzarella again, and a little bit more Parmesan cheese. And now I'm adding my final layer of pasta. And it's okay if you have one that breaks. And this is our final layer of pasta sauce. You definitely want to bake these on a cookie sheet. But as I mentioned, once the noodles soften, and they're already starting to soften because our sauce is hot, but once the noodles soften, it will sink down a little bit more. And then of course, once you bake it, it puffs up a little bit, but it will sink. And I've made a mess. Once you're happy with that, we'll go our final layer of cheese. If you're gonna wrap this up to put it in the freezer, which I'm gonna do with my small one, I will wrap it probably about 3 layers of plastic wrap. And during baking at any time, if you feel like the cheese is getting too brown on top before it's cooked through in the middle, just cover it lightly with foil. But these are very full. And total, this was about 6 cups of mozzarella cheese, and then that's about 2 cups of Parmesan cheese. Make sure to get all of the cheese that didn't make it in. And our final layer of Parmesan cheese. If you had fresh basil, you could chop that up and sprinkle that on top. It really makes for a nice presentation. It will for sure bubble over in the oven. Okay, looks pretty good. Very full. Here's my lasagna the next day. It sunk down a little bit and I wrapped it in plastic wrap. And now I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven. That is my grandma's oven. Foil-lined cookie sheet, because this is very full. We'll go for about an hour and a half, just because it's been in the fridge for all night long. And my cookbook is here too. Put it next to the gluten-y toaster.
He has looked at me yet.
Ooh, that looks good.
It does look good. This is my mom. Hi. This is her recipe. Great. Where'd you get this recipe?
I made it up.
You made it up.
No, I got it out of the Betty Crocker book and kind of
Made it your own?
made it my own.
Well, I took your recipe and made it my own because it's gluten-free.
Okay, well that's good. Looks delicious.
Thank you.
Well, it's your recipe. I'm sure it's in your cookbook.
It is not.
Oh.
Spaghetti. Spaghetti is in my cookbook,
Well,
but
you'll
it's the
have
same
to do-
sauce as this lasagna.
And you'll have to do another cookbook.
Not only are we having my mom's lasagna recipe, we're also having my great-grandma's Jell-O recipe,
Which is in the cookbook.
which is also in the cookbook, right here. I don't think you can see it. What does everybody think?
Awesome.
So good.
Gluten-free lasagna?
It's delicious.
Amazing.
Grandma, what do you think?
Oh, this is delicious. I don't mind getting older to have this lasagna. Oh boy, look at that gorgeous cake.
Carrot cake is your favorite?
Oh, that's absolutely my favorite.
I made it just for your late birthday.
Yes, and I'll have another birthday just to get that cake.
I'll make it for you every year. This cake is also in my cookbook.
And it is delicious. What's around it?
Pecan buttercream.
Oh,
Cream cheese, pecan buttercream.
that topping you had on the cupcakes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
The vanilla cupcakes?
that was to die for.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked them.
Oh, now what was that topping?
That was vanilla buttercream.
Oh,
I've seen
Vanilla buttercream on the vanilla cupcakes.
I was just like a kid. I was eating it down.
I'll let you take the first piece.
Oh boy, just look at that. Wow. Wonderful.
You can take one to Grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sharing with him.
Okay. I have two other people that want a piece of carrot cake.
Hi. Oh, you've got it framed a little bit.
This is what happens when you're really short.
It was
You're
perfect for you and
scooching.
Grandma, but for normal people, I've got no head.
This will show you
Wow.
how short I really am.
Thank you.
This looks so good, Jill. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrot cake's one of your favorites too,
It is.
isn't
It
it?
is. This is amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
My husband doesn't want to come and see.
Oh, that is delicious, darling.
Thank you.
You should have your own YouTube channel. You're a natural.
Yes, Grandma, you're a natural. Okay, what does everybody think of the carrot cake?
Delicious.
You're welcome. Thank you.
One more. Good.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.